Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Kevin Adriansyah. My name is 2124090190. This is my task 9 about ethics. The first is, what is ethics? At its simplest, ethics is a system of moral principles. They affect how people make decisions and lead their lives. Ethics is concerned with what is good for individuals and society, and is also described as moral philosophy. The term is derived from the Greek word ethos, which can mean custom, habit, character, or disposition. Ethics covers the following dilemmas, like how to live a good life, our rights and responsibilities, the language of right and wrong, moral decision, what is good and bad. In my argument, ethics is a rule of life where the ethics didn't see directly. Ethics is there and can be felt. Ethics grow up in the life between us, and usually an ethics is the one big public is different with public others. What use is ethics? If ethical theories are to be useful in practice, they need to affect the way human beings behave. Some philosophers think that ethics does do this. They argue that if a person realizes that it would be morally good to do something, then it would be irrational for that person not to do it. But human beings often behave irrationally. They follow their good instinct even when their head suggests a different course of action. However, ethics does provide good tools for thinking about moral issues. In my argument about ethics in psychology, if a man have an ethics in his life, it means he have a good mental. If he have a good mental, so a man can give a positive movement in his life, especially to people around him. Ethics can provide a moral map. Most moral issues get us pretty worked up. Think of abortion and euthanasia for starters. Because these are such emotional issues, we often let our hearts to do the arguing while our brains just go with the flow. Ethics can pinpoint in disagreement. Using a framework of ethics, two people who are arguing a moral issues can often find that what they disagree about is just one particular part of the issues, that they broadly agree on everything else. That can take a lot of heat out of the argument, and sometimes even hint at a way for them to resolve their problem. But sometimes ethic doesn't provide people with the sort of help they really want. Ethics and people. Ethics is about the other. Ethics is concerned with other people. At least heart of ethics is concerned about something or someone other than ourselves and our own desires and self-interest. Ethic is concerned with other people's interests, with the interests of society, with God's interests, with ultimate goods, and so on. So when a person thinks ethically, they are giving at least some thought to something beyond themselves. Ethic, a source of group strength. One problem with ethics is the way it's often used as a weapon. If a group believes that a particular activity is wrong, it can then use morality as the justification for attacking those who practice that activity. When people do this, they often see those who they regard as immoral as in some way less human or deserving of respect than themselves. Sometimes with tragic sometimes with tragic consequence. Good people as well as good reaction. Ethics is not only about the morality of particular courses of action, but it's also about the goodness of individuals and what it means to live a good life. Virtue ethics is particularly concerned with the moral character of human beings. Are ethical statements objectively true? The problem for ethical realists is that people follow many different ethical codes and moral beliefs. So if there are real ethical truths out there, wherever, then human beings doesn't seem to be very good at discovering them. One form of ethical realism teach that ethical properties exist independently of human beings and that ethical statements give knowledge about the objective world. For ethical ISMS, when a person say murder is bad, what are they doing? That the sort of question that only a philosopher would ask, but it's actually a very useful way of getting a clear idea of what's going on when people talk about moral issues. The different ISMS regard the person uttering the statements as doing different things. Moralism. Moral, moral realism is based on the idea that there are real objective moral facts or truths in the universe. Moral statements provide factual information about those truths. Subjectiv- Subjectivism teach about that moral judgment are nothing more than statements of a person's feeling or attitudes, and that ethical statements don't contain factual truths about goodness or badness. In more detail, subjectivists say that moral statements are statements about the feeling, attitudes, and emotion that particular person or group has about a particular issue. Emotivism is the view that moral claims are no more than expression of approval or disapproval. This sounds like subjectivism, but in emotivism, a moral statement doesn't provide information about the speaker's feelings about the topic, but express those feelings. Persec- presec- Prescriptivism think that ethical statements are instruction or recommendation. So if I say something is good, I am recommended you to do it, and if I say something is bad, I am telling you not to do it. There is almost always a perspective element in any real world ethical statements. Any ethical statements can be reworked with a bit of effort into a statement with an oath in it. For example, lying is wrong can be written as people oath not to tell lies. Okay, thank you very much. My name is Muhammad Kevin Ardiansyah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.